So look at that, guys. I wonder what's happened there. As I was saying, I haven't been down here I was down this street 6 months ago with Walkabout Wayne. The co-working space was there. And now it is gone. It's gutted. Look at that. I wonder if all the pun spaces have now closed down. What is up, guys? Brett here from brettdev.com. And today I've got something a little bit different for you. So right now I'm outside Maya Mall and I'm about to head down Nemon Road. In this video I want to answer the question of why do all of the digital nomads who come to Chiang Mai choose to stay down Nemon or in the Nemon area. And before we get to that, before I get down there, if you are a digital nomad or if you're not a digital nomad yet, make sure you check out the link in the top left corner of this video, because that is going to be really helpful for you. So this is Maya Mall, guys. If you've not been to Chiang Mai before, this is a like a really good reference point for the city. So a lot of people know this mall. This is probably the most popular mall in the city. And then down there you've got the old city, and then right here you've got Nemon Road, and this is what I guess the Nemon area, or Nemon Hayman as it's actually called, and this is where everybody stays. You know, I just got an email from somebody the other day and they said they were staying down Nemon. Whenever anybody comes to Chiang Mai, they always book a hotel or a condo in Nemon. Why is that? We're going to talk about that today. So it's interesting because, like I said, you've got the old city, which is up that road, not too far. And the old city would actually be the centre of Chiang Mai, right? It's the middle of the city, and Nemon isn't the middle of the city. It's off to the side, out of the way. So why does everybody stay down here? It's very interesting. I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to find some cool places, and you know, I haven't actually been down here for about a year, so I'm going to see how it's changed, different things like that. Compared to when I first got here, especially because when I came here it was 2015, and yes, I stayed here as well just like everybody else, and it has changed a lot. It's changed a lot since then. So when I first came here, this place, it's basically near two streets, right? You've got this one street that goes down here, which is Nemon Hayman, and then you've got another street on the other side which is called something like Siri Kamangalajar, or it's got a really long sounding name that's difficult to pronounce. But when I first came here, this was kind of like a hot spot for foreigners and tourists. Obviously not so much now because not many people are coming here now, but back in the day this would just be all Westerners. Not all Westerners, obviously, it's Thailand still, there's lots of Thais, but it's very Western. Lots of Westerners living around this area on the street. Over the years, big buildings like this have been built, like this fancy shopping mall, and I guess I would say just before the lockdowns and the closures, this place became less popular with foreigners, Westerners, and more popular with Chinese. So 2019, 2018, this area was really packed with Chinese tourists, like everywhere. It was like Chinatown. And I guess that would be the start of the decline of this area, because for Westerners, and like from what I remember when I first came here, this area definitely has taken a hit. It's not kind of what it used to be. They've tried to, it feels like they've kicked the digital nomads out of this area a couple of years ago and tried to turn it into an area that caters to Chinese tourists. So why do all of the digital nomads choose to stay in this area? Because another thing about Nemon is it is the most expensive area in the city, pretty much. I mean, for renting, accommodation, you've got the old city, which is going to be expensive, but then you've got Nemon, which is just as expensive, but it isn't the old city. And I mean, if you look around at what I've been filming, it's not like a historical site or anything. It's not like the old city where you'd have all the temples and stuff you could go and see. it's a relatively newly built up area. So why do people come here? And you know, when I talk about it being more expensive, it's you get a condo here, it'll cost you 20,000 baht. If you go literally 2 or 3 minutes on a bike up the road, you'll get that same condo for 8,000 baht. So why do people choose to go 2 minutes and stay in this area and pay 20,000 baht for a condo? Honestly, I don't know. When I first got here, there were a bunch of co-working spaces here. There was a co-working space called Pun Space, which I'm going to walk up to in just a moment. And that's why I stayed here. I mean, I think that's what drew a lot of the digital nomads here originally. Like back in 2012, 2013, 2014 was, you know, there wasn't any co-working spaces. They were new, right? They were just springing up, and Pun Space was kind of the original one, and it was in Niman. Well, it wasn't on the Niman street, it was to the left. People wanted to go there, they wanted to work there. They didn't want to ride a motorbike, and they wanted to walk everywhere, so everyone just stayed around this area. I mean, it is a convenient area if you don't want to have a bike, and I kind of guess that might be why people stay here, to be honest. I mean, look, you've got your McDonald's, you've got lots of shops, lots of restaurants, you've got Thai food, you can see here. And you've got a few nice restaurants here as well, so everything here is a bit fancy. What I'm going to do, right, I'm at the Bangkok Bank. I'm going to cut through a side street and go over to that Siri Mahamalajar, whatever it's called, road down here. So we're going to cut through to the, this would kind of be still considered Niman, but the second street of it. But as you can see, if you look over here, you've got very fancy Starbucks, very fancy Chinese restaurants. Everything's a little bit upmarket here. I guess the upmarket Thai people would live here as well. Like, this is the area where Thais that have money, that want to stay in nice condos and go to fancy restaurants, and it's like the posh part of town, right? But for some reason, this area also attracted all of the digital nomads, which was interesting because, well, you would expect the digital nomads to want to come here and save money, but you know, 2014, 2015, even now, this is still staying here in the poshest part of Chiang Mai is still saving money compared to living in your home country, right? I mean, if you pay 10, 15,000 baht for a condo, you're looking at, about $450, $500 a month. So it's still cheap for an apartment. And as you can see, there's lots of apartments all over the place. But it's a very fancy, posh area, pretty much. It's very clean compared to other parts of... Chiang Mai is a very clean city anyway, compared to Bangkok and all of those places. But Niman is especially clean and especially fancy. You're gonna pay like, that's a great restaurant, that is, Zud. Very, very good restaurant. Not that expensive, but again, it's more expensive than the same type of food that you would pay for just a little bit outside of here. So the thing with staying in Niman is, you know, yeah, it's a little bit fancy, everything looks quite nice, but you're paying double for everything, really. And what do you get for that? You get the convenience to walk around, right? So if you don't want to ride a bike, if you want access to lots of, you know, hipster coffee shops and nice restaurants, and you want to pay double in all of them, then then yeah, that's what you're paying for. So it's always baffled me, you know, like people don't want to pay 200 or 300 baht for a motorbike, but they will pay double on their rent, double on their food. Like if I was coming here again, I would never stay here. One, I don't walk around, I have a bike. And number two, like whenever I used to stay in Niman, I never feel like I'm in Thailand because there's so many foreigners here. It's just, well, not so much now, but well, there's nobody here now by the looks of it, but there used to be so many foreigners in this city, and it just felt like, you know, if I'm in Thailand and I'm going to be staying in Thailand, I want to feel like I'm in Thailand. I don't want to move to, you know, like an artificial Western area that's been built specifically for me and other Westerners. It's, I don't know, it just feels weird, you know. This Niman area also has a lot of co-working spaces and coffee shops, so that's a big thing as well, I guess. That's why a lot of digital nomads came here. As I said, Pun Space was the original one, and now they've got the yellow co-working space that I filmed the other day. That's here as well. There used to be a bunch of them here. There used to be one called, if any of you guys are watching this and you were here back in the day, Kawi Cafe. That was a 24-hour coffee shop just on this street here. You've also got Wake Up, which is another 24-hour coffee shop on this street here. So a high concentration of like 24-hour coffee shops that are designed for co-working, and obviously co-working spaces as well, with Pun Space being the original one. So yeah, I mean, if you like to bounce around, which is what I used to do all the time, bounce around between different coffee shops and work on the laptop, then Niman's kind of cool. But you are in a little bubble. You are trapped in a bubble. I mean, if you weren't into co-working spaces and coffee shops, then I don't know why you would stay here at all. I mean, if you wanted to co-working spaces, coffee shops, that sort of stuff, I would stay in the old city, right? Why would you spend a lot of money to stay here when you can stay in the old city with all the history and all that? Now this used to be Kawi Cafe. This was a great coffee shop. Now it's derelict, looks run down, closed, turned into a hotel by the looks of it. But they should have kept that as a coffee shop, because that was a great little spot. This wasn't here a year ago. Everything's changed. And as I'm walking down here, there's so many more foreigners, like Westerners here, than I would see in my neighborhood, like a lot more. So it's still just this area just attracts Westerners for some reason. What I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to walk down this street, and I'm going to show you the place where I first stayed when I first came to Thailand. A little condo that used to cost me 7,000 baht every month, and it was not a good deal. It's probably more than that now, so it's probably still not a good deal when you compare it to, you know, hopping on a bike and being like over in my neighborhood, Chiang Mai, which is took me 2 minutes to get here on my bike. But you could get a 2-bedroom apartment with aircon in both rooms, a living room, 2 bathrooms for 6,000, 2 minutes away. But the one I'm going to show you now cost me 7,000, and it was like a little room. So the price difference is crazy. You could basically get half of what you could get 2 seconds out for your money if you choose to stay in Niman. And like I say, the only reason I can see you wanting to stay in Niman is the convenience of walking to places if you don't want to ride a bike. I'm taking a stroll down here now. Look, you got a condo for rent there. Looks like a fairly decent condo, but I'm betting that will set you back probably 15,000 baht for a single room. You got a macro, big old macro. Yeah, Neiman does have everything. It has everything you would want. This is a nice big restaurant cafe. As you see, it says co-working space. Get a drink, get to use the pool. This one is called Baristro Cafe, and I'm pretty sure that is about 200 baht for the day. You can do your work in there, just sit at the tables, and there's a pool in there and stuff. If you want to use that as a co-working space, they've written co-working space on the sign, but it's not really a co-working space. It's like a restaurant cafe, but they've just written that obviously to attract people to go in there and spend money. So like you can see, you've got coffee shops, lots of coffee shops. Everything you'd want here, your laundry, you'd find your laundry services around here, you know. This is actually my friend Ash. He has a design studio here, as you can see, PowerPoint designers. If you click the link up in the corner and actually sign up for that, I'll send you an interview with Ash that I've done, which I've been sending to everybody that signed up for that free course. So my friend Ash there, he owns a PowerPoint design agency. And yeah, right here in the heart of Neiman. Works primarily for Western clients. Like, that's a great interview that I did with him. It's very helpful if you're looking into freelancing or working online. And here we are. This is the condo that I stayed at when I first came here. It's called It's called Ban Siri Mankalar. Ban Siri Mankalar. And yeah, this was 7,000 a month when I first got here. Could actually be cheaper. This used to be a little coffee shop down here. You might recognize this. I took a photo here. I got somebody to take some photos for me for LinkedIn. Right there on that table there. And yeah, it's fancy, you see, like these buildings, they're like really cool, funky. Everything in Neiman is you know, it's cool. It's like cool modern architecture. One thing that's amazing about Chiang Mai is, as I said, I haven't been down here or just Thailand in general, I haven't been down here for a year, and everything's different. Like, all the shops that were here before are gone. This Cafe D Neiman has been there a long time. Used to go and work in Pun Space and then come and eat over here. But everything changes. The businesses here go bust really quick, and then new ones open, and it's just businesses popping up and closing all the time. So you never get to see the same shops. From like every 6 months, it's almost like they all get a refresh. But what I'm doing now, I'm just going to walk around the back here, and I'm going to walk around to Pun Space, because when I used to stay there used to be, like, as you can see, there's all these buildings here now, but there used to be like areas where you could cut through. So you could I would stay in that building there, and then I would just walk across, cut through to the to Pun Space. The Wi-Fi in that hotel wasn't great at the time. Probably a lot better now. This was, you're talking 6-7 years ago. No, 6 years ago. Talking 6 years ago, Wi-Fi wasn't that great. But I always knew that in Pun Space, you know, you got the fast connection because you're paying the money for it. It was 24 hours. I was very, very serious about starting my online business when I came here. Working on the computer like crazy. and that's why I had the membership at Punspace, because, you know, I didn't know if I was going to have reliable internet, or if the internet in my hotel that I booked was going to suck, and it kind of did at times in that hotel. So yeah, I would walk through and I would go to Punspace to, you know, have a good environment to work in. So I've just come around the block, and as I'm walking up here now, we're walking towards the original Punspace, original, from like, I don't know, it must be open like 8-9 years now, I'm guessing. I mean, look at all these fancy buildings. Like, you don't get this style of like it's a French restaurant there. You don't get this sort of stuff outside of Neiman. So, and here we are. Oh wow, look, it's gone. Amazing. So look at that, guys. I wonder what's happened there. As I was saying, I haven't been down here I was down this street 6 months ago with Walkabout Wayne. The co-working space was there, and now it is gone. It's gutted. Look at that. I wonder if all the pun spaces have now closed down. Maybe as a result of this pandemic and nobody coming here. It would not surprise me. Wow, that's shocking, guys, just to see that. Like I was just saying, 7, 8, 9 years ago, the original, bosh, gone. Oh my god. So now I guess you've only got, used to have Pun Space, used to have Carway Cafe, you've got Wake Up, which is 24-hour. There were a couple more that are gone. Used to have Yellow. Well, you have Yellow now over here, which is probably the biggest and best co-working space probably in Thailand, not just in Chiang Mai or Neiman. Fucking epic over there. But yeah, wow, changing guys. Now, like I said, I started this video and I was going to talk about why the digital nomads, why do foreigners choose to stay in Neiman, and it's been a bit of a I don't know, it's been a bit of an eye-opener now, really, walking back down here after 1 year. You know, back in the day, this was a great place for nomads. Like I've been talking about, I'll cut through there. But now, when you've got one co-working space, I mean, there are other co-working spaces in Chiang Mai. They're all over the city, like in different areas. But what you tend to find is they'll be standalone, right? They'll be on their own. There's a couple of they're dotted all over the city. In every different area, you'll find a co-working space or a 24-hour coffee shop. If I were you, if I were coming to Chiang Mai and I was looking for a place to stay, if you don't want to ride a bike and you want to live in a little artificial area and you want to pay double for your rent and everything else, then maybe stay around here in Neiman. If you're not interested in co-working or coffee shops and shit like that, and you want to spend double on your rent, stay in the old city. You get all of the history, all the beautiful temples. As you can see, walking around here, there's no temples. This doesn't look like Thailand. This looks like, I don't know, some kind of French town. It is all new. This area here, I'm pretty sure Neiman wasn't even really here in the way it is now 15, 20 years ago. It's all been built from scratch, essentially. So no history here. If you have a bike, if you want to rent a motorbike, then you can stay anywhere you want in Chiang Mai, because Chiang Mai is such a small city. Just get a bike, stay like over where I stay, like Chiang Kian, and if you want to come here, you're paying half the price for your rent, you're getting twice as much for your money. The food, the restaurants over there are half the price as they are here. Just as good, just as convenient over there. You've got all your laundry, everything you've got here, you've got over there. And if you want to come here, you get on your bike and you ride 2 minutes and you're here. You can go to Pun Space, well, you can't anymore, it's shut. You can go to Yellow, you can go to all these places and then just hop on your bike, just like I'm about to do, and ride 2 minutes home. It's a no-brainer, really. It's a no-brainer. So, I mean, I've showed you around, I've showed you kind of why, well, spoken about some of the reasons why digital nomads, Westerners come to stay here in this area in particular. You be the judge. If you come to Chiang Mai, should you stay in Nimon? Or should you stay outside? What other areas are good outside of Nimon? Chiang Kian, right where I live, is great. You can stay in Chiang Klan, which is where the boxing area is, and the nightlife, and the night bars, and the beer bars, all the Thai girls. Like, if you want that, if you want a bit of nightlife, and don't stay here, you want to stay on the other side of the city in Chiang Klan. Chiang Klan's a cool area. It's got everything you need. It's busy like this. A lot cheaper than here, and you're very close to the nightlife. So I'm going to wrap the video up there, guys. I'm baking hot. It's like, man, 37, 38 degrees. Absolutely boiling. I didn't bring my hat either, which I should have done. So I'm kind of almost trying to run around and make this video, which is a bit fucking annoying. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it's interesting. A little bit of a, you know, a walk and a talk, give you some information about an area that when people come to Thailand, they tend to just, or come to Chiang Mai, they all just tend to flock straight here. So if you see people that are staying here, maybe on other YouTube videos, and you're thinking to yourself, when I get there, I'm going to stay in Nimon as well. Well, now you have my perspective, maybe you have a better understanding of the area, which will be beneficial to you. It's a decent place for, or it used to be a decent place for digital nomads. You know what I'm talking about. I've already spoken about the whole video, but and if you've been here before, and if you're used to coming to Chiang Mai, maybe you're just locked out at the moment. Maybe it's been a little bit of a what's that word? A bit of a nostalgic video for you. You know, you can see where you used to stay and how it's changed. And yeah, if you've not been here for a year and you come back, it's a lot different than it was a year ago. And I mean, I only live 2 minutes up the road, but I never come down here. Maybe, like I say, I was here 6 months ago with Wayne. Before then, 6 months before that, I just have no reason to come here. Everything I need is in my neighborhood. There's nothing down here that I wouldn't be able to get where I live currently, and it costs half the price. Before I wrap this up and before I jump on my bike and go home, obviously I'd be crazy not to mention the fact that if you stay in Nimon, behind me, you are very close to Maya shopping mall, which is a good mall. It has a good cinema in it. It's got a really good food court that's really cheap, like 50 baht a meal. You can go into Maya, eat downstairs. So yeah, that's another perk, I guess. You're over by here by Maya Mall, very convenient. Speaking of which, I just realised I haven't actually had any breakfast yet. So I'm going to pop downstairs in Maya Mall and grab a bite to eat. Maybe I can show you the food court. Chai, yeah, and kai dao for here. Thank you. Come on, cup. Thank you. Oh, wow. I'll tell you what, crazy to see this place so quiet. My friend Matt, who I did an interview with the other day, he came down here because he just got back here, obviously, and he was saying how half the places are shut. I didn't really believe him. He said a year ago there were 3 places that he used to like to eat at down here, and they were all closed. I said, nah, no way, man. But yeah, there's, I would say, half or 1/3 the sign of life that there used to be, maybe even less than that. Thailand needs to open up soon.